Hello everyone, my name is Cynthia and the topic I chose was arsenic private well water. I chose this topic and I was very shocked and surprised at how many people drink untested water. My goal was to explain what arsenic is and how it affects health. Um, Public water is regulated under the Safe Drinking Water Act. Private wells are not regulated. Millions rely on wells and most are never tested. Arsenic is a natural toxic metal within rock and soil. So when it dissolves dissolves into the groundwater, which the water is usually, you know, harvested for the wells. Um, People drink it daily without really knowing what's in it because it is unregulated and untested. This typically happens in the rural and semi-rural areas. This leads more into health effects and the studies that I provided within my paper based out in Maine. The wells exceeded EPA limits. There was a lot of long-term exposure, and it was linked to skin, bladder, and lung cancers. Also, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, neurological or developmental issues, and immune problems. Not to mention, children and pregnant women are at higher risk, and many families are exposed to long term without awareness. Jumping into the environmental risk connection, the environmental health is what our surroundings affect our health. This fits with the epidemiological triangle. So the agent going into arsenic, the hosts going into the families using the private well systems, and then their environment, which is the groundwater system. Arsenic mobility depends on water chemistry, the pH levels, human activities that are pumping within the ag system. Um, then there are environmental justices, so low income or rural families can't afford the testing or the filtration systems. Uh, Wells being unregulated puts people at higher risk because they are going to continue drinking these waters because that's the only access to water that they do have. So it puts a lot of people at risk. The most interesting concept would be the epigenetics. The arsenic can change how genes are expressed, but it doesn't fully change the DNA, but it changes how it functions. Effects show up years later. The effects can affect future generations. So, like if you're pregnant, you're ingesting this water, your baby may be prone to some of these genics. And then this concludes that arsenic contamination is preventable. It is not treated like a high priority public health issue, like as it should be. There are long term risks and lots of money burdens for families because if they're taking the time having to replace this, that's a lot of money depending on what is wrong. If there's rusting within the pipes, you know, we don't really know exactly, like, and even at that, like when they're tested, they can't really prove if the system is clean. If there's not proper regulation, money being prioritized, education to the public, especially in the rural areas. There needs to be better testing, better policies, and accessible filtration, um, clean water access to all is a right. It's not a privilege, and I will leave it at that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.